The date is October 23rd, 1993. The Toronto Blue Jays are down 6-5 in Game 6 of the World Series. Rickey Henderson is on second base. Paul Molitor is on first base. And Joe Carter enters the batting box. With two Hall of Famers on the base pads, Mitch Williams is imploding once again. And with one swing of the bat, Joe Carter has a moment of baseball immortality. In 1993, the Toronto Blue Jays were the talk of the town. After winning the '92 World Series, they were destined to do it again.
There's a bunted ball, first base side, Timlin to Carter, and the Blue Jays win it! The Blue Jays win it! The Blue Jays are World Series champions!
Now, to go back-to-back in any sport is one of the hardest things to achieve. The Blue Jays, well, they were fueled by a group called Whamco. White, Alomar, Molitor, Carter, and Olerud. Then the acquisition of Rickey Henderson, and the Toronto Blue Jays looked like they could make another deep postseason run, and finish the year with 95 wins and 67 losses. And fun fact, they were only shut out once during the entire regular season. Yeah, they were that good. Lights, camera, action. And they'd play the Chicago White Sox in the ALCS. Now, at this time, you went right to the ALCS. There was no ALDS, which was introduced in 1994. So, the Blue Jays got a bit lucky. And in 1993, they'd play the team with an MVP by the name of Frank Thomas, if you haven't heard, in the ALCS. Oh, and also they had a Cy Young winner as well. This series would go 6 games, and the Blue Jays went up 2-0 to start the series. Then the White Sox fought back, and they tied it at 2-2, but the Blue Jays eventually would win in 6 after a strong outing from Dave Stewart in Game 6, another 1993 addition to the roster. ALCS MVP would also end up with Dave Stewart, and now only one hurdle stood in the way: the Phillies in the World Series. This series had it all. If you go back and rewatch these games, it personifies everything postseason baseball is all about. The Blue Jays had got to an early 2-1 series lead. Game 4 was baseball magic. The score was 14-9 to the Phillies going into the 8th inning, and it looked like an easy victory with just 6 outs. Then came Mitch Williams. In the world of odds, the Jays should have been shut down, but instead, the playoff jitters got to Wild Things Williams. He gave up 6 earned runs, and the Jays would end up winning this game 15-14.
I'm in danger!
I mean, looking more like a football score than a baseball score. Jeez. The Phillies were still poised. They came out in Game 5, and legend Curt Schilling would pitch a shutout gem, and they were back in the series. Game 6 would end up being a game the Jays gave away. Dave Stewart gives up a 3-run home run.
Well hit to right, way back, and that one is way out of here.
Danny Cox gives up an RBI single, and Al Leiter gives up a sac fly. The 5-1 lead they had going into the 7th inning was gone, and now the Phillies had all the momentum going into the 9th inning. This was a 9th inning like no other. The Blue Jays were an expansion team in 1977. They'd achieved a dream. Within 15 years, you were on the steps of a dynasty. Now, Cito Gaston, the first black manager to win a World Series, might have made some questionable bullpen decisions, but Jim Fregosi, I don't know if that's how you say it, truly one-upped them. Leading by 1 run, he gave the save situation to Mitch Williams. That would be his biggest mistake of 1993. Rickey Henderson to start it off with a walk, and Paul Molitor with a single. In 2025, George Springer had his moment, and he thanked his teammates for getting on base for it to even happen.
Season home runs in your career, 23 in all. What will you remember about this one?
The at-bats before me. I mean, if it's not for those guys, that moment doesn't happen.
32 years ago, Ricky Henderson was the epitome of a nightmare for any pitcher if he got on base. His blistering speed and always being able to steal a bag always had pitchers on their toes. And the same pitcher who gave up 6 runs was no exception.
How does that sequence happen with you creating havoc on first base?
It was based on the create havoc when I get on base pass, to try to make the pitchers, pay a little attention to you on the base pass too. When I was on second base and Mitch Williams was on the mound, and he used to throw Joe Carter a lot of sliders and stuff like get Joe Carter all strike out or he get him popped up a slider. So I was trying to move around on second base. We had 1 out. And I think when the game was over, Mitch Williams said, I was worried about you still in third base and me worried about throwing the slide and getting Joe Carter out, and he ended up hanging the slide, and Joe Carter hit a home run. We won the World Series.
Joe Carter was 0-4 all time against Williams, and a pinch hitter who was put in for defensive reasons was on deck. The odds were actually stacked against Joe Carter, but by the looks of it, Williams should have got out this inning, and we should have got a Game 7. Thankfully, a swing that can truly only be heard from the play call of Tom Cheeks.
Here's the pitch on the way, a swing and a belt, left field, way back, Blue Jays win it! The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run in the 9th inning, and the Blue Jays have repeated as World Series champions. Touch 'em all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
This was bliss. This was cinema and the peak of baseball moments. Joe Carter had entered a threshold that only one other player in baseball history has ever done in a World Series. Joe Carter had his moment of baseball immortality. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to the end of this video. To remember this moment as a part of Blue Jays history, it's truly what put us on the map. The 1993-92 Blue Jays were a special group, but it feels the same this year. The team just meshes so well that even when it seems like all hope is lost, postseason magic prevails. Now, if you have any ideas for future historic videos on the Blue Jays, let me know. Keep watching your Blue Jays. Can't wait to watch the World Series. And peace.